Hey everyone, today the FGO 9th anniversary Famitsu article was released, and every year this comes out for the anniversary of the game, and this is where we usually get the most insight on the devs and the development of the game, and Nasu and everything that has to do with this game that they don't really talk about outwardly, right? So we're going to go through the interview a little bit. It's been translated. I do want to sort of preface this with there's like 10 different translations of basically everything. So I'm just using this one on Reddit. We're going to talk about this interview. This is the interview with Kano Yoshiki, who is, of course, the director of the game. The part, is he director or like producer? But he's the main part 2 guy. You know, he's Mr. 2, you know. I don't know if he's director or producer, but I don't think it matters. But anyway, and this is where we're going to get a lot of the gameplay stuff, right? The in-game, you know, sort of importance, improvements, what their thought process is about stuff. And then we're going to sort of go through some other little bits and pieces from other parts of the article. They interviewed Nasu and Takeuchi, and there's some really interesting stuff sort of outside of the scope of the game, but more just lore stuff and stuff like that. But they do drop some interesting hints. And yeah, so let's get right into it. And before we start, I just want to say thank you guys for clicking on this video and watching. We are getting a lot of views and a lot of likes and subs, and I really appreciate it. And my goal is to get to 700 subscribers before the summer starts, because, you know, CL's coming out, and, you know, we got to get her, my girl, you know. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to do a lot of videos, a lot of stuff about that. So if you guys want to be here for that, that'd be awesome. And yeah, so let's get right into it. So we're going to be skipping some questions, because I do want to touch on and sort of talk about my thoughts on, like, the really important things, because I do think there's some really interesting stuff. And there's also things we could sort of infer if we read between the lines. Not like, you know, go crazy and make all these conspiracy theories, but there's obviously stuff that is happening in this article that is not front and center, if that makes sense. But we'll get into that. So, looking back on FGO's 9th year, it's crazy that this is my you know, pausing the narration. This is me. It's crazy this game's been going for 9 years. That's really impressive for a mobile game. And in my opinion, as much as, you know, it has flaws for sure and stuff, it's still kicking. It's still one of the best mobile games, in my opinion, and it's just really cool. So, first of all, why don't you share your thoughts after 9 years of ongoing operation? As we announced, the Final Chapter Part 2, yada, 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 yada. We're not going to read that one. That one is just sort of an introduction. This one is interesting. Was it always planned that you would have this many collabs? So, of course, this year we had, you know, a good amount of collabs. We also just had, like, random Type Moon characters coming in. So, obviously, we had the Mihoyo collab. And then we had Hikage and Chiki. The two mascots. I don't know their names, but the two Type Moon mascots, the old Type Moon mascots, they came in. That was really cool. Of course, we're getting CL. Seems like we're getting a lot of characters from Type Moon getting in. So he says, there was a plan, of course. It's not like we had a concrete plan for the 9th anniversary figured out by the 5th already. So that sort of means, I've seen a translation of this like they did have it planned out for the 5th anniversary, but I think what he's saying is sort of like, we didn't have it planned out for like 5 years, but taking into account the preparation time for new servants and the like, which we sort of know is about, I believe they say 6 months. It takes them like 6 months from conception to completed. Sorry. We had some clue as to what we wanted to do roughly a year and a half ahead of time. When we then came up with a clear schedule together with Type Moon, as a result, after 8th anniversary, it was decided that a Grail Front with a guest writer would be a major event. That was a cool event. I liked seeing the Grail Front. That was a pretty cool event. I think a lot of people enjoyed that one. And then we'd have this Fate Samurai Remnant collab. That's right, yeah. They did Fate Samurai Remnant and Mihoyo. And Ordeal Call 2, and then, of course, the Mihoyo collab. Mihoyo collab might be one of the best things they've ever done in this game. As a content set, that was decided upon. I guess you could say the recurring theme of this year was how to translate this effort into the game. So I think they sort of mean, like, hey, we planned a lot of stuff out, and it was our sort of goal and job to get all that stuff done. And I think in that regard, they did a pretty good job. It was cool seeing the Samurai Remnant collab. It was cool that we also got a Sen collab on top of that, and it was a Mihoyo collab, which is, you know, really, really awesome and sort of unexpected. Side note, I read the Mihoyo visual novel when that got announced. That is my favorite Type Moon, you know, piece of literature or whatever that I've read. Mihoyo is amazing. It's really, really good. If you guys have the chance, you should read it. It's pretty fantastic. So, I get the sense that FGO itself has accelerated or become more content-rich with its 9th anniversary. Do you think this will continue into its 10th? So this question is a little interesting to me because, and again, I sort of preface this, but these are all translations. These aren't going to be perfect one-for-ones. But this sort of, I interpret this question, and I don't think they're asking it this way, but sort of like, we had a couple slow years, and now we're ramping back up. Do you think this will continue into the 10th? And because I don't think, like, this past year has been, like, the best year ever. It's good compared to some of the bad years we've had, recently. And we got some cool collabs and everything, but I wouldn't say this is, like, a content-rich year. That's my opinion. I feel like this is probably due to the fact that from 2022 or so, we have changed the timing of event reruns being implemented. That's interesting. Increased the time for limited events, yes, and added more and more mechanics to each individual event. Our plan is to keep increasing the density of content, and we're definitely planning to keep that up going forward and not just have it as something for the 9th year. Next year will mark our 10th year, and furthermore will be a major turning point with the final chapter representing a crucial point. Final chapter, I just want to say this every time they say final chapter. Final chapter meaning of part 2. The game is not going to end. Like, it's not. I mean, it makes way too much money. You see the money sort of, I don't know, the money-hungry moves that they make with the append skills and everything. They are not going to just let this game go next year. That's not going to happen. Do not worry about it. That's not going to happen. It just makes too much money, That's what they mean by final chapter, though. It's final chapter of part 2. So, where was I? Yeah, next year, the final chapter representing a crucial point. I think this will be an incredibly fun but also humbling year to us as a team. Here's a really good question. What was the intent behind changing the timing of event reruns? So, Kano says, it would be... Sorry, let me drink some water, because I keep... That was the greatest drink of water of all time. You see... Anyway. Anyway, okay, here we go. This is an important question. I gotta get hydrated for it. It used to be that we would rerun events a year or two later no matter what. However, the expectation of each player is going to be different, and so we figured we would alter our management style to better reflect this. So I want to pause on this here first. I don't know about you. Personally, I have no fucking idea what this means. I do not understand what the expectation of each player is going to be different, so we figured we would alter our management style to better reflect this. I don't understand what this means. It used to be that we would rerun events a year or two later no matter what. However, the expectation of each player is going to be different, and so we figured we would alter our management style to better reflect this. To me, I don't understand. This makes no sense. This feels like one of those roller coaster answers for we just didn't want to do reruns for some reason. From a management perspective, we figured it would be more fun to release something new and exciting. So this is sort of... This answer doesn't make sense because they used to do 2-week new event, space, 1 week, and then 2-week rerun. That's how it was. Now we just get 3-week new event with 1 week of content, sometimes 2 weeks, and then we get like 2 weeks of dead time, three weeks sometimes, and then we get another 3-week event with 1 to 2 weeks of content. So it's not like we are actually getting more content in the new events. There's obviously outliers. Mihoyo event was one of the biggest and best events they've ever done. Summer event will have a lot of stuff because summer events are just usually big. Um, most other events, though, have like 1 week's worth of content. And that's sort of my frustration of the removal of reruns is there's just not enough to do in the game. There's no, like, other games have sort of a tower system or like a weekly reset type thing. This game doesn't have that, and that's something I've wanted for a really long time. It's just some sort of alternate activity that gives you a reason to play the game outside of, hey, here's a event or here's a story chapter, right? But this game doesn't have that, so I think there's no reason for there not to be reruns. I also think it sort of really hurts our ability to acquire like rare prisms and stuff and things like that. And yeah, I don't know. I don't like the no rerun answer. Not to mention it would be a surprise. This one pisses me off. Not to mention we thought it'd be a nice surprise of sorts to let our players be the ones who got to decide what events got brought back again as well. That whole voting thing wasn't rigged, but it was like, obviously the Beast Nera one is gonna win when you didn't rerun her and it specifically took her out of the Destiny Order summon. Obviously she's gonna get reran, or she's gonna get voted for, It's not like, what? She got voted for because, you know what I mean? And also I don't like the voting thing because it just puts it into the majority, hands. And most of the time, they're voting for banners. They're not voting for events. They're voting for, hey, I want another chance to get, we'll do Narrow Beast, right? As an example. Or, hey, I want another chance to get such and such Summer Servant. It's never like, wow, that event was really cool. I want to play that again. So hopefully we get that again, though. The other aspect was when we got the reruns, it was like, okay, hey, guys, here's 6 weeks of reruns. Reruns are good because they fill content gaps and give us something to do. They are not content themselves. Reruns are not content themselves. Anyway, reruns, it's rough that they're not in, and it doesn't sound like they're going to sort of budge, but hey, whatever. As we approached our 9th year, there were a lot of things that would simply come at the expected time, So as I thought long and hard about the typical management style of FGO, I thought it'd be important for us to deliver many surprises wherever we could. That's the end of that answer. I don't know. That's one of the more sort of frustrating answers in this article. They talk about what was the cool events and stuff. We kind of touched on that anyway. They do a whole thing on the Mihoyo collab. Not much here. They sort of talk about Aoko and how there's been a couple different translations of this one, but how, like, Olga Mary was sort of the prototype for Aoko, because, she had the AoE cards and stuff. But yeah. Yada yada. They added sub-attributes into the game to see, which was cool. And they sort of hint that might have something to do with the future as well. Grail Front. So Grail Front, I'll kind of condense this answer, but they liked doing the Grail Front. They said they had to rework all the AI. They sort of say that it's going to be hard to hold the events regularly, but that they could do them as sort of challenge quests. And that's always has been my want for Grail Fronts, is like, hey, here's a new event. One of the give us like 3 challenge quests. One of them is a Grail Front. I think that'd be really cool. That'd be a really great way to add Grail Fronts back into the game. Because for me personally, I like Grail Fronts. I like the mechanics. I like the gameplay of the Grail Fronts. I don't like when it's, here's a full event with like 6 Grail Front maps. I don't really like that. I think Grail Fronts are cool when they are spread out. That's my opinion, though. So, they talk about the Aqua Mary fight. I actually haven't done this fight either, which is funny. I mean, I could. It's one of those things where it's like, I could do it. I just haven't gotten around to it. Maybe once I get CL, we'll do it. So, new challenges as we head toward Part 2's final chapter. This is a really interesting section, so we'll try kind of touch on this section. Interviewer asks, I think many masters might have started using up their bronze saplings by now. Those, of course, are the blue apples. Will there be any opportunities to replenish them in the future? Kano responds, we haven't decided on anything concrete yet, but we're thinking about it. Answer, no. They knew blue apples were a really bad decision. They obviously can't take them away, but they're not going to give it to us again because it just promoted people just going to the game, eating the blue apples, and leaving. I think a lot of the ordeal call class score system and the storm pods, the way that system has a lot to do with, wow, they fucked up on the blue apples. Personally, I think the blue apples are a great thing. I think that, especially when so many of your events are like, wow, okay, here's some events, and then here's like the lotto event, and the lotto event's like the most important event of the year, and you have to have so much AP and stuff. I think it's fine if people want to play the game this way, to go in, log in, get all the stamina, save it, and then when they want to blast, when they want to go on a lotto event, they have all the resources to do it. I think that is a very fine way to play, because I think the opposite is people just don't play the game. There's many mobile games that I play, different mobile games, that I just don't log in every day because there's no reason to, besides getting whatever. I'm not going to name names, but if you know, you know. But I just think blue apples, I don't find them, I don't see them as a mistake. The company certainly sees them as a mistake. Is there any plans in the near future to refresh the amounts available? Oh no, he did say able. Amounts able to be exchanged with pure prisms. Sorry, for some reason that was a hard sentence. He says, we're definitely considering that. This might just be my player self speaking, but I would definitely like to see that shop refresh, laughs. Perhaps there will be something like that once the 30 million download campaign rolls around. I love that I say the parentheses out loud. But, okay, cool. But he segues into a really important thing. The interview asked, what's the progress on that campaign anyway, I wonder? He says something that's really interesting to me. He says, honestly, since that campaign is dependent on the number of downloads, it is difficult to predict the timing of it. It's always in a cycle of suddenly getting a lot more new players, only for it to slow down and not get as many new players. Still, I get the feeling that we're pretty close now. We're all cheering you on, guys. So, this is interesting to me as it kind of implies that they're not at 30. We always thought, like, hey, they are just sort of keeping 30 million locked behind, at some point they're going to drop it, I was sort of dooming, about, like, are they going to combine it with this anniversary? Because that would suck, but apparently they're just not there yet. And at first I was like, wow, that's kind of not good for the game, but then I sort of thought about it. 30 million people is a lot of people. Now, of course, some of those are going to be, like, alt accounts or rerolls or whatever, but this is a almost 10-year-old game for players that are playing it or players that are already, so for players that are already playing it or people that are Fate, Type Moon fans, Fate fans, any type of fans, they're going to have an easier time coming into the game because they want to they like seeing Artorian. They want to, for example, right? Or, hey, my favorite game, someone could say, hey, my favorite game is Tsukihime. I see CL's coming back. I'm sure there's going to be an Arc Banner rerun. There we go. Easy peasy. But this game, I believe, has a very hard time getting new players that aren't fans of the franchise or the overall Type Moon universe, right? So the reason I say that is I think it's because the game just does not have anything that's like super special or super cool that they've done recently that attracts new players. All the stuff they do is like new character, which is awesome for fans of that character or fans of the design, but they don't go like, here's a brand new way to play the game and you guys should join because yada yada whatever, right? I do also think that Fate sometimes has a bad rap. It definitely is always talked about negatively outside of the game. My opinion is some of those are valid, some of those are invalid, especially with the other gacha games going around. I think it's there's definitely gacha games that have worse gacha system than Fate Grand Order, and that's just a fact. But anyway, I think that it sort of makes sense when you think about it. Like 30 is a lot. 30 is a lot. 29 to 30 is 1 million. I can do math, but 1 million people is a lot of people, and there's probably not that many people that have never played the game yet, right? So I don't know. I think that this honestly makes me feel better because that means that they're not being scummy and trying to like cheat us on rewards. So we'll get there when we get there. It sounds like it's going to be big. It sounds like we're going to get the white prisms like they just talked about. But yeah, that's it about the 30 million. Command spells refresh through a day. We know that. Yeah, streaming ban. That's like something about like official streamers. Here we go. This is a really important question. Really important question. This is where we start reading the tea leaves. Let me drink some water real quick. Sorry. What system improvements do you personally want to prioritize in the future? Kano. He says, I mean, my man just got a that thing did not break. That was a middle, just sinker that did not break, you know? And he just, whoop, he swung out of his shoes and missed. I'll get into that in a second, but I would like to make the auto-organization feature better. This question was obviously for him to talk about the coins. You'll notice he has not talked about the coins a single time in this interview. Last year, there was some speculation that sort of the interviewer was like not allowed to ask question about it, / it was retcon, or was it not classified, but what does it mean when you like take something out of an interview, you know? I was sort of like, maybe. I was sort of like, you know. Now it's like, bro, someone has a chokehold on the coins. I don't know what it is. I guess they showed that Sony director guy who came into the office the coins, or his grandson plays the game, or he could be cracked. Yo, his account could be like insane, and he knows exactly how to make money, you know? Like, he just has a stranglehold on this company. Sony does, or whoever, Antiplay, whatever. Because it's wild how just they are about the coins. Anyway, this to me read as sort of like a, hey, nudge, nudge, you know, what system changes would you like to make? You know, nudge, nudge. He said, I would like to change the auto battle system. You know, like, blink twice if you are under, you know what I mean? So anyway, disappointing, but I think now it's sort of confirmed, like, it's not my man's fault. It's not Kano's fault. He is definitely just tied up. You know, I think he's just tied up. Yada yada, you know, whatever. They say, I'm skipping a couple of these things. On the topic of time efficiency, have you considered, for example, tripling AP consumption while also tripling drops on a single run? So this is basically sort of, you know, some of those games have like either skip tickets, or I don't want to like misremember, but I believe Blue Archive had a thing where you could just like do as many runs as you want, you know. And he responds, that's not something we're considering at the moment. If we increase the time efficiency of doing runs, then any game design would be based on that, which would mean you just need to do more runs. This is a really frustrating answer. I guess he can't just say no, next caller. You know, he can't be Dr. Umar. He can't say, you know, next caller, next question. But it's just kind of frustrating when it's like, well, if we made the game easier, the game would have to get harder. Like, no, the game could just get easier. The game could just be more casual, but it's fine. Like, I think things like that is why new players don't come into the game. It's because this game doesn't have an auto battle system. This game doesn't, really value your time until you're like, have every material in the game in the hundreds, which, some accounts do. And like, for me, like, I haven't farmed for a thing in a really long time, but I know I'm the outlier, right? So a lot of times I have to remind myself, like, no, like, sometimes farming is really awful in this game, and they just refuse to do things like an auto battle, like a, tripling AP. Like, I think that's a great idea. The other thing about auto battling is, like, you can't auto battle a challenge quest. I mean, like, probably, if you could, then it's probably involves Costa or Toria. Like, it probably involves some very broken characters. Anyway, 10th anniversary and going forward to part 2 finale. So, lastly, I'd like to ask about your enthusiasm regarding the 10th anniversary. Next year will be an important one for FGO in more ways than one. For one, it'll have the final chapter, which is something I think we've all been waiting for. Again, final chapter, meaning final chapter of part 2. We're also considering further raising participation requirements for events leading up to the final chapter. This year, we encouraged people to reach Ordeal Call. Sort of talked about that already. I think my take is, like, I think this would be fine if they add, like, a skip Ort button. I guess lore-wise that wouldn't make sense. They really care about their story, but Ort is actually a really big roadblock for a lot of accounts, and I don't know. I think that when you start the game, like, it's say, hey, I'm a Tsukihime fan, I want to get CL. Turns out the welfare servant is like Akiha, right? Let's just say, for the summer thing. Can you imagine how much they'd have to do to get the welfare servant? Really wild, really wild. It's probably not going to happen. They're probably not going to go through chapter 1 to Ort that fast, Anyway, so this year we'll be preparing for the final chapter, including promoting how to raise your servants, huh? We put everything we had in this past year, but I think we're going to have to put in even more than that for the 10th anniversary. We're not going to take leftover stuff from the 9th anniversary and repurpose it for 10th anniversary. Instead, we'll do our best to finish all that stuff up and then turn our focus to what to do for 10th anniversary. I'm really looking forward to the end of part 2, which I personally feel like it's a pretty moving thing. On the other hand, as the director of part 2, it does make me a little sad as well. They sort of ask him, like, what is he going to do after part 2? Because, he is the part 2 director. I think he'll still be involved in the game. Can you give us some hints as to what kind of preparations you're doing for the final chapter? The big new mechanics is something that I've discussed with Nasu, and that I feel will be the culmination of everything we've done. I think it will really tie everything together, everything we've done, and why we've done it. I have no idea what this, like, mechanic could be. It obviously involved bond points or bond levels. That's my take. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know. We'll have to see. Maybe another Ort fight. I feel like not literally Ort, but that style. But I feel like we've already done that. I feel like they do something different, but we'll see. It's been said many times, a good idea. They always tell you raise your servants. Then he says, will it be something like forced to use many servants? And then he sort of says, we'll see, laughs. I think this will be something that only can be done in Fate. That's a really interesting and cool answer. So, yeah. What is this one? Oh, this is just like craft essence or something. Okay. Also notice no bond craft essence question, really. So that was the gameplay, sort of the director of part 2 interview. So now I'm going to kind of jump across a couple other interviews that I found interesting. These are all from Nasu and Takeuchi's interviews, but just different excerpts. This part is more hints and stuff about the mechanic that is coming in the last part of part 2. Nothing too much, but Nasu just sort of says the biggest additions will be on a gameplay level, and I believe the players will approve of the changes. So that's pretty cool. I still just have no guess as to what this mechanic could be. So next one is these are pretty interesting. So this is a question about Summer 23, and basically this is a summary. Is Tonelico was originally supposed to be a free servant. Now that's interesting to me, as it kind of makes sense because she had like basically one summer outfit. The other two were just like, you know, sort of fantasy type things, you know, like the bunny, and then the last one I guess was sort of a summery thing, but you know, and then Nasu wanted Artoria Castor. Oh, sorry. Whoa, that was a complete mind, you know. Tonelico, really supposed to be free. You know, that sort of checks out, because Morgan obviously has, like, the summer Morgan. I assume it was going to be, like, Tonelico's free, then Morgan is an actual character, summer character, and then they sort of combine them. Nasu and Artoria Castor, everything I just said about Tonelico, Castor Artoria, is that, you know, her first ascension is very summery, the other two are not really. And then, out of nowhere, it became Nocnaria. This is frustrating me. That's obviously like some upper management, some like unseen hand, unseen forces controlled that, right? Like that was obviously like a, hey, we're not letting the players get a free popular character like that at all. Pretty disappointing. Some other things. There was an interesting thing. I just realized, where was the welfare? There was a welfare. Yes. I didn't touch on this one. This is in the Kano interview. He talked about how welfares are becoming like stronger in the game, which is interesting because like I agree with the last couple we've had are pretty strong. Who was the Saiga? Was that her name? I don't remember exactly what she did, but I'm sort of the opinion. I think Nocnaria kind of sucks. I think Nocnaria is not that good. But the other ones were good. We gotten a couple good ones in the last, you know, little bit here, and it's always good to get free, strong welfare servants. Just wanted to touch on that he said that that's sort of like an intentional thing, but he sort of says that like we're not going to lower the bar, but it's what does he say here? He says we have no intention of lowering the bar again. That said, FGO is balanced around a sense of usability while trying to avoid abrupt power creep, so they'll still have to abide to that. So that's sort of saying like we're not going to get some cracked welfare servant, right? You know, so then yeah, we talked about the summer Morgan. Now here we go. This for me, you know, is the summer CL, the stuff about summer CL. So interviewer says, I heard in advance that one of the swimsuit servants this year will be CL, but was this decided a long time ago? Takuji says, there's a meeting to decide what kind of character to implement, and when it comes to the main anniversary servant, sometimes it is decided quickly, but sometimes it takes a while to decide. This time there are many twists and turns, and during the meeting the idea of making it CL came up. However, both Nasu and I shared the common understanding that CL would not be the right choice. Interviewer asks, may I ask why CL is different, quote unquote? Taikuchi says, to simply put, as the anniversary character of FGO, it doesn't make sense, right? Arcroot was giving that special role of Archetype Earth, and I think it was a nice one-off change, one-off change of pace. However, there was still a trend to include CL, so we decided to make her a Servant Universe swimsuit character. They further talk about, will her appearance change drastically when she appears? I've seen a translation of this that's specifically like, will she be powered up, or, you know, like powered CL? You know, I can't help but think we'll see something, you know, similar to what she wore as Roa. Then Takeuchi says, that's too much to expect, but it's a swimsuit, so maybe yada yada. CL specializes in combat, so I don't think she has an image of dressing up much. Normally, I would think she would be in a cool outfit or something, but since she is one of the two main heroines in the first part of Tsukihime, I was told that she needed to wear a dress that would be comparable to Arcroot's, so CL is now wearing a dress that has never been seen before. So the normal outfit, the habit, dreams are kind of fading now. So now we know probably the first ascension that was revealed. The third ascension is going to be some new scene ascension. This sort of interview part, I've seen a bunch of translations about. What I've gathered is it's the third ascension is going to be an outfit we've never seen before. So the second outfit is either going to be powered CL or normal CL with the habit on. I know which one I want. I like powered CL. I think she really looks cool, but it's iconic, bro. With the, you know, with the black keys and the, like, come on, bro. You know, I also think like her wearing a dress is like, or you know, I don't know. We'll have to see. Takeuchi can definitely get a little extra recently with his designs. Not that they're bad, but just like definitely there's some like Guilty Gear belt power creep. You know, there's a lot of just like accessories and stuff on all the designs nowadays for Takeuchi. The new designs, I should say. But hopefully they go back to basics and just do the classic CL thing. The other thing is, like, her black keys are so iconic. I don't know what Ascension would use the black keys, because if her second Ascension is powered CL, she's not going to use the black keys. Maybe her first Ascension is very black key focused. But my take is going to be first Ascension is the summer thing, second Ascension is the habit, and then the NP is she goes into powered CL and does the bow. So the first two Ascensions will be that NP we saw. Third Ascension will be a new thing, but it'll be the Star of Calvaria. I would be shocked if we don't get that at all as an NP. He also says somewhere about, like, the NP is going to have Easter eggs and stuff, which is pretty cool. The third NP, I should say. So that's my take, and that's my hope. Last thing I want to talk about is the survey. So first, which servant do you want FGO? This was the sort of, it's kind of off center, but number one was CL. Obviously that happened, so you know. Number two is Toko. So I thought that was going to happen already. Honestly, this year is kind of becoming the year of the collab. I sort of think she could be a New Year's servant. And she's, you know, one of the most wanted. And yeah, then third is Shiki, fourth is Shinji, and then it goes down from there. Favorite story? Ordeal Call 2 has overtaken Lost Belt 6. I wonder if that'll be sort of just like a recency bias, like fad type thing, or what. Then Lost Belt 6, then Lost Belt 7. I really liked Lost Belt 7. I thought Lost Belt 7 was really cool. I still think that last fight with my man David is so, it feels so Fate. Like it's just master versus master, you know? I also really like Tez's design in that fight. It's so like, I don't know, I feel like it's such a like a classic Fate design where it's just like, this is, you know, he's got like this sort of modern design with the, you know, jack and the gun, the glasses, and then he's like very sort of what you would think he would look like, right? He's not like a big robot, even though he summons kind of a, you know, but he's just like, he looks like what he'd look like, you know, and I think that's really cool. That last fight was really cool. I liked Lost Belt 7 a lot. I don't think it's better than Lost Belt 6, but I'll be honest, I haven't read Ordeal Call 2, so I'm sure it's pretty goated. Story you want to see in, I mean, come on. Not even a question. Favorite NPC? It's interesting. Number one, I assume, is Camazotz, I assume. It doesn't say here. Now, who would want for summer? This is kind of interesting. Summer male. Tez is number one. I kind of cut that off. Then Ku. Then Muramasa. Saito. Taigong. Taigong's kind of an interesting choice, right? Moriarty. Yada, yada, yada. Female. Reshigal. We already got that. Talalok. Van Gogh. Arc. That's going to happen. That has to happen. That's going to happen. Krimhild, Koinskaya, Kukulkin, Passionlip. I kind of think that might happen too. Zufu and Yang Guifei. Which low rarity servants from 4 or below would you like to have a 5-star version of? This is pretty interesting. Number 1 is Hercules. That makes sense. I'm surprised that hasn't happened yet. Number 2 is Arash. Stella! That'd be cool. Number 3 is Sasaki. That would be really sick. Number 4 is Cha-Cha. I actually really like this. I think Cha-Cha, like 5-star, could be hit really hard if it's like, you know, like adult, you know, cha-cha, and it's like serious, you know, that would be sick. That'd be really cool. 5's Talalok, 6 is David, Mandricardo, Ku, Hands, Passion Limp. One that Madahari, obviously, and then Boudica. I guess Madahari would never be a 5-star, but Boudica, 5-star would be pretty sick. So, yeah, that's pretty much everything. There's obviously going to be some more that comes out just because this is a huge article and, you know, it can be translated so many different ways. But that was sort of the gist of it. That was sort of what I wanted to talk about. Let me know what you guys think. I know we sort of, kind of long-winded, kind of a long video. Definitely did this a lot, you know, with the water. But it was pretty fun, and I'm interested to hear what you guys think. My feeling on this article feels better than last year's. Last year's felt pretty bad. This year, it's like, okay, kind of confirmed that the coins are out of their hands. I like that they are saying, hey, we really haven't made it to 30 million. And then, you know, some of the other stuff they talked about. And yeah, I'm excited. Excited for the future. CL comes out in like less than a week. That's crazy. Really excited for that. Really excited for that. And yeah, so thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate it. If you guys like this video, if you could like and subscribe, of course, as I said in the beginning, we're trying to get to 700. We're like 49 away before the summer starts. That's going to be a really fun time. We're going to do a lot of stuff. And I'm going to try to, you know, just get back to, you know, some of my older, you know, type fun videos, you know. SaberFan04 might come back. We'll have to see. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys have a great day. Make sure to tell me what you guys think about all of this, because I really want to hear from you guys. If you guys disagree with anything I said, if you guys agree with anything I said, love to have a discussion in the comments. But till next time, bye-bye.